Hello and welcome back to the second episode of the How to Get Legend series with me, Big ML. If you missed the first episode where we talked about how to get a good basis for the whole journey, make sure to watch it. I'm going to link it down in the description. Maybe I'll find a way to link it up in the video as well. Today we're going to talk about how to learn and about the basics of GBL. So what I mean with how to learn effectively. One thing that I see a lot when I look at Twitter, when I look at Reddit, people are posting their stats and whatnot. There are quite a few players out there which have thousands of games, yet the rating isn't really displaying that amount of experience, right? They are still have maybe made ace, some of them have never made veteran, and yet they have 10,000 of games, right? And how does that happen? That happens because they are playing their battles, they are jamming battle after battle after battle, and they're not learning enough while battling. They are not taking their time. And what I suggest to you, after every battle, take a second, take a minute, go back, think back. What just happened? What did I do? What did my opponent do? Did I make good decisions? What could I have done different? Did I have a wrong approach? Did I make a bad call? All sorts of stuff, alright? If you have the possibility of recording your battles, I highly suggest you to do that, because that makes it a lot easier to go back in time, and then you have a pause button, which in a high-paced, fast-paced game like Pokemon Go, where you have to make decisions really quick, the pause button that you will have available when the recording is playing is very valuable. So make sure to always get something out of every single battle that you play. Playing 10 battles and working with, after every battle, going back, thinking about it, thinking about potential other moves that you could have done is important, right? And it's probably more valuable than just slamming all the 25 battles and not really using much time to think about it. Second point, do not be result oriented. Pokemon Go PvP, we have a blind pick 3 system. It has a lot of variance, and it is not possible to win every single game, right? If you queue up in GBL, you're queuing up to lose a lot of battles. Everyone will lose a lot of battles. The overall win rate that you will end up, if you have like 60%, that's already pretty good, right? Only a very few amount of players will be able to achieve that, and that means you're gonna lose 40% of your games. And I would compare Pokemon GBL to poker in a way, because it's also a game where you will have bad days. There are bad days in GBL, you will lose a lot, it happens, and it doesn't mean that you played bad, right? You can play bad and lose, but you can also play good and lose, and the other way around, you can play bad and win, right? It happens. So always make sure to be objective, right? If you played well, be happy about it, even if you lost. Playing a battle well and losing is better than playing a battle bad and winning. Of course, your ELO might suggest otherwise, but in the grand scheme of things, playing better overall will result, of course, in you gaining that ELO back eventually. And this is also a mental thing, right? Don't feel bad about losing, right? Try to not let that touch your mental too much. Alright, then know the basics. What about the basics? one of the first things that you should probably know is the type effectiveness and the resistance. And a lot of you probably already know that. I'm gonna link a nice quiz in the description where you can test your knowledge. And most of the people have this kinda down, and you really, if you don't have it down, learn it. This is something that you definitely need. If you're throwing the wrong move, then that is not gonna end well for you in a lot of situations. And one thing that I have seen that people are not actually knowing, they don't actually know the type effectiveness. They only know what move to throw against a certain Pokemon, right? They have played that matchup a lot. It's a common Pokemon, let's say Stunfisk, and they know which move to throw against Stunfisk. But then if they're paired up against a Spicepik, they all of a sudden struggle to recognize which move to throw. So make sure that you don't focus too much on a single Pokemon. Focus on actually knowing the type effectiveness based on the typing. Second point from the basics is learn your team and learn your matchups. Often when I browse Twitter or Reddit and someone posts about them reaching Legend, there are a lot of people asking, what is your team? Alright, that is probably one of the most common responses besides people graduating. What is your team? And then when this question gets answered, or if the person posts a team, these people often try to copy that team, and then they expect to have immediate results. And unless you are a very knowledgeable battler, unless you have a lot of experience with all the matchups and the Pokemon, it is unlikely that you're gonna perform well with the team that you just picked up, right? As I said, Pokemon Go, high variance, your win rate is gonna be barely above 50%, and there are only a few percentages here and there. Winning one game per day more will make a big difference in this grand scheme. So it is very important to know the ins and outs of your team, right? If you're switching your team up constantly because you just had a bad set with it and you're like, this team doesn't work anymore in my elo range, and you're just switching to another team, you're not gonna have success. Because this way you never learn how to play a team, and the knowledge, right, the small details about a team will result in you winning that one game more, and that is what's gonna push your elo gains. So make sure to stick with a team, to learn it, right? Play 100 games with it, 200, 300 games with it. And eventually you will see that you're gonna play better. You will see that you have situations which you encountered before, and therefore your reactions will be better, because you already know, if this happens, I'm going to do that, right? I also highly suggest you to look up all the matchups on PvPoke after you just battled. If you didn't know about the matchup plays out, go check PvPoke, look at the simulations, and yeah, that's gonna help you for sure. And last point is follow the strategy of your team. Right. One of the most common strategy is playing an ABB team, meaning that both of your backline Pokemon are weak to a certain type, most likely, and your lead Pokemon is good against that type. And what you're usually trying to do is you're gonna lure out that type with one of your Bs, then beat that Pokemon with your A, and then hope that your second B can roam free and win the game for you. And I have seen a lot of people play these kind of ABB teams, and they stay in with their A against the neutral lead. Alright, they stay in with their A against the neutral lead when they're supposed to switch out. And then they might win switch advantage, but their A is so low already that they can't handle the counter that their opponent might have to the B in the back anymore. So make sure that you are aware what your team is supposed to be, right, strategy-wise, and make sure that you always follow that that strategy. That is important, right? And it's a common mistake, especially when you are just picking up a team. That's going to be it for today. Thank you very much for tuning in. I hope you enjoyed the video. Feel free to leave a like, comment, and follow me. And have a good rest of the day. And see you next time.